adventure that marries virtual action combat with open world freedom. Set in a universe somewhere between Lord of the Rings and Spinal Tap, it's a fresh take on action slash driving genre, which in this case is full of imitation cover bands, demons intent on enslaving humanity, and that was like,
Oh yeah.
And heavy metal tunes. Feature the talents of comedian, actor, and musician Jack Black as super roadie Eddie Ridge, as well as cameos by some of the biggest names in metal music.
That's dope.
Yeah, Pooja recommended me this. I wasn't not the biggest metal music fan, but it sounds like a really interesting game.
Yeah.
It was in his library. We lost access to people share libraries between countries, so I can't play it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really played it. Like try it. I never got around to it. So it's like $3 on sale with the spring sale. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. This seems like a blast. So yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Alright. I went live with the pre-show while we get started.
I figured it. I heard it.
Yeah, and then we'll get going after the ad break.
Fair enough. Gotta do games after tonight, or call it lightly, or
Maybe, I don't know.
let me know. I'm
Yeah.
happy either or. A little tired anyway, so I don't mind just doing a show tonight.
Sure. I think I might hop on Final Fantasy 14.
Okay. Yeah, I was on SC with the others a lot yesterday for community race. I did a competitive race circuit for the next 2 months.
Nice.
Our guy qualified. We were there for 6 hours, I think.
Damn.
Getting through everyone. Said qualifiers is one person after another, right? For time trials, so
Yeah.
just waited for our turn. But we also helped with some parts of the event too.
Yeah.
For whoever's not driving.
Okay.
A lot of nice people.
Nice.
And then some other stuff happened the last 12 hours. Hey London, I'm about to do podcast. You cannot keep on hopping on my lap and off my lap. You can say hi to the people on the microphone for a moment if you want. Okay, or not.
At some point, I'll have to make a custom overlay for OBS, where actually I can maybe do that just now. I just do cutout capture and then have this just on the side. Maybe.
Fair.
Yeah.
I got to take this microphone off at some point. Just give it a really good cleaning.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to do that right now. Also, seemingly enough, my father said he has a few spare webcams, so we make him one.
No? Nice.
So I may be on camera
There you go.
later on.
It's been a while since we've had you on camera, so that'd be nice.
I know, right? I think 2 years now.
Yeah.
Since Delilah broke my camera, I haven't really bothered in a new one. I don't need really, but with us doing this now, it kind of feels a little more required.
Sure. Yeah. I think it'd also be nice once I get more of my stuff figured out. I'd like to upgrade my webcam soon again soon.
Fair.
No.
Fair enough. I've been enjoying Buffy. More likely I'll watch more of it after, so.
Oh yeah. How far are you in?
How far?
Yeah.
I think I'm on episode 11 of season 3.
Okay. So bad.
Yeah. It's episode 12 of season 3, Helpers. I just watched the one called Gingerbread with the fairy tales.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Nice.
witches and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just finished that like maybe like 10 minutes ago. So also here, this is not podcast. This is an outdoor show related.
Sure.
But I know you will enjoy when we're at break. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's see. I think we might be back in ads. You probably started the show.
Where I'm still considering these two things.
Yeah.
Since you will enjoy them. Also, got all of Battlestar Galactica.
Nice.
Yeah, I wanted to stream it, but there's nowhere to stream it.
No, yeah, it's impossible.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I want to see it in a screening, like in a movie room.
Mm-hmm.
Badly. I don't want it to do it to the computer. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I threw my hands together. I'm like, I'm just buying this.
Yeah.
So I bought it. So I'm excited to watch it the next few months. That could be awesome. Seen a little bit. It's good.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah. What was the last time you saw it?
Like years ago at this point.
The starship designs are beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and really impressive, honestly, for what it was made.
Mm-hmm.
Because what, that's 03, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's for how good it looks. I think that is incredible.
Yeah.
04. 04 to 09. Honestly, for live action sci-fi show, I think the Vipers, the Galactica, the Cylon ships, it really does look incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive, in my mind.
Yeah. Same. It holds up so well.
It really does. You let me know when we start, friend.
Okay. No, we're. Wait, what? Here. All right, welcome back, chat, internet, everyone, to Free Beer Society for the week of March 16th. The show where we talk about the flow of information and technology, and ideally stuff being as open source, as open as possible on a weekly or near weekly basis. I am your host, TK. I'm joined by Brickfan.
Hello, people.
And,
I am here again.
Yes. Against as well.
Clearly, this is part of the America-Canada issues going on right now.
Exactly.
I get kidnapped once a week by him.
Yes.
But talking about that, well...
Yeah. Ideally, you kidnap me and then I could just stay on that side of the border.
Yeah, that'd be the best outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the way the show flows is we'll just talk about a couple articles, give our thoughts on it, and probably end up going on a couple tangents and
That's
I
what
don't
we
know.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw this just... I didn't really look into it much, but I saw this like a few hours ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's recent.
It's pretty new, so I actually already set the news doc before I saw this. So thank you for bringing it to my attention. But this is speaking of free flowing information and borders. This is again America moving towards whatever the exact opposite of that, and that we have no rights, no liberties.
Yeah, this is concerning.
Yes. So this comes from Tim Sullivan and Elliot Spagat at the AP, updated 5:36 p.m. March 15th. So this is just a day old.
Yeah.
President Donald Trump on Saturday invoked the Alien Enemies Act for the first time since World War II, granting himself sweeping powers under a centuries-old law to deport people associated with a Venezuelan gang. Hours later, a federal judge halted deportations under Trump's order. The act is a sweeping wartime authority that allows non-citizens to be deported without being given the opportunity to go before an immigration or federal court judge. Trump repeatedly hinted during his campaign to declare extraordinary powers to confront illegal immigration and laid additional groundwork in a slew of executive orders on January 20th. His proclamation on Saturday identified Venezuela's Tren de Agora gang as an invading force. U.S. District Judge James E. Boasberg, who was appointed by President Barack Obama, blocked anyone from being deported under Trump's proclamation for 2 weeks and scheduled a Friday hearing to consider arguments. So at least there is some sort of blockage and hopefully legal recompense we can get something.
Yeah,
but it's still.
But isn't it a legal order? Because.
Yeah, I mean, it's in theory it's within the president's authority to sign that any time, but
well,
the Alien Entities Act is the thing that, well, also where it's not at wartime, but he could still invoke it. But it's only ever been used at wartime. The most recent case being during World War II when it was used against the Japanese.
Yeah, and that's a great history.
It was America's Americans committing their own Holocaust at home. Yeah, this will be
catchword each week.
Yeah, so we just have 2 weeks to hopefully have some sort of legal changes on this, but this is an interesting situation because already we know that they don't have so far, even without this being in place, the immigration orders this year have been very non-discriminatory in that they will it doesn't matter what your national origin is. If they think that you're illegal or are in some way Hispanic or Latino, they will target you and try to export you or deport you, which has resulted in U.S. citizens being deported, U.S. veterans being deported, and so even though he's targeting supposedly
Venezuelan gang members.
Even though he's supposedly targeting Venezuelan gang members, we already know that this is going to be. There's not going to be. There's not going to be any discrimination on it, right?
That's the problem. It's
yeah.
I think, when people defensive like this, well, you bow your attention right after the bad guys. No, of course, criminals, rapists,
mm-hmm.
Bad people who've done horrible crimes, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone with some level of sanity is no, they came illegally, they're doing horrible things in my country, let them stay here. No, people they're no, let's get them out of there, sure.
Right.
But you and I and many others know, they'll be biased. This won't just go after the people you think they're going to try to go after.
Yeah.
It's going to be a overflow.
Yeah, I think
of discrimination.
For sure. And it's also one of those things where even if there is no mass deportation with it, right? It could just be a cake and circuses thing with it, because the same thing with the transport issue is that there are exactly 2 trans athletes in the United States, and so why this political issue is beyond anyone's comprehension. But I think the most recent statistic was there's 30 million undocumented immigrants in the United States that still pay taxes and are reported to the census. And of that, we've had, I'll say one in it's somewhere between 1 in 5 million or 1 in 10 million actually commit a violent crime. So of that 30, 3 people have actually committed a rape crime or a violent crime like that. Whereas I think if you go down to members of the clergy, it comes down to 1 in 100.
Yeah, but those are holy men.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't be touched.
Yeah. So it could just be another excuse for we already have so many this the other day we're going to talk about it earlier, but we already have a person who was speaking at a peaceful protest who was arrested and deported, or threatened to be deported, um, despite the fact that they're here on a legal student visa. And we also have American veterans, Marine Corps veterans who have been deported, despite the fact that their service has earned them citizenship. So now, when these deportations don't need to be brought before a judge or immigration lawyer, that's just going to make things even more terrifying. If your name is Ramirez, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
And I think this is a little bit worse.
Mm-hmm.
We're following a game plan here, any path that is not slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did any worse now, well, it's I honestly think it's not good. I hate saying that because I feel I'm fear mongering. I'm not trying to fear monger. I do not want to do that
Right.
at all. But yeah,
Yeah, it'll be interesting. At least we do have that 2 week of legal review, so
hopefully if someone does something.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing you could go back is because that's not wartime, this could end up getting essentially shut down by Congress, especially if the House swings back in Democrats' favor.
I would
With
think
special
because
elections.
not wartime and because the president does not have the legal authority to really declare war on behalf of the government,
Mm-hmm.
Congress does,
Yeah.
then this will be rebunked.
Right. Yeah.
This Congress has not declared war on the entity this act is trying to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
Henceforth, it can't go through.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure Congress. I don't think Congress would declare war right
Yeah.
now to allow this to go through.
I mean, the problem is we don't have any natural enemies outside of maybe Russia, but of course, we don't declare war on Russia because
Someone enjoys their new best friend a lot.
exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Humble, I like your little badge next to your name in the Twitch.
oh,
Yeah.
I can't access Twitch still. My own account.
Man, we need to get you on that.
I know.
I'll
I think I'm just gonna go out to the wilderness for like 10 minutes tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And just try to hover the phone around the place because it's all signal.
Yeah.
So I just had the damn code to enter my Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I come up for real. Nice.
It's ridiculous, but yeah. All right.
Yeah. If we have the TwitchCon this year, I feel like I need to tag along with Humble because I know for sure he's gonna be doing like all the activities, like all the stuff that gets you, like the special drops and stuff.
Fair.
Okay.
All right.
Next story. I didn't even say how many stories we have on the docket. We have a lot. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I'm not sure we'll get for them all.
For sure
today.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
This comes from Congress.gov. So we're doing some first-hand reporting here, like we're actual journalists.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. So HR House Resolution 1936 to prohibit funds for the armed forces to engage in operations to invade or seize territory from Canada, the Republic of Panama, or the self-governing territory of Greenland. This was a resolution that was put forth in the House by Seth Magaziner. That's a funny last name. All right. And has, as of March 6th, been referred to the Committee on Foreign Affairs, and is currently in review. It'll be determined by the Speaker in each case for consideration of such provisions as fall within. So it's currently just being reviewed and will go on to the Speaker. So the fact that we now have to pass a resolution to say that we cannot go to war with Canada, Panama, or Greenland without an act of war being declared. This is very silly.
All right. First of all, I still don't really think, as terrified as I am of the idea, I find it still extremely hard to believe that the U.S. Trump administration would at all try to actually do a ground war, a physical war instead of a trade war.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I'm not the right terms here, but you know what I mean. Like
like
they would not do a military attack on Canada.
I don't think we'd do it on Canada or Greenland because we'd become a pariah state, and then all of NATO and a good chunk of the UN would be forced to retaliate based off defensive treaties. Um, Same with Greenland. Panama, he might try to do something,
But
but yeah,
the fact that even though Panama maybe, but still not hopefully it's unlikely. The other two are very unlikely.
hmm
But the fact that we still have to consider the idea and that this had any reason to be put out in any capacity whatsoever is bloody ridiculous. Like we should not have gotten to this point.
for sure. It feels like it's one of those things where it's where you always make like the like hope for the best, prepare for worst, but you never really like make plans for things going out and outlandishly bad. Like when you're packing for ship, you don't plan for what if a terror attack happens in the airport. Well, maybe you do, but you never do like a thing like what happens if like your Uber driver to the airport turns out to be a terrorist, right?
Right.
Yeah, or like things like that. Or like you never plan for what happens if your dog happens to be a member of ISIS. This feels like our dog might be a member of ISIS just in case. Let's put out some anti-dog legislation.
Yeah, I think that's a little. I think that's not a bad analogy there.
Yeah.
Because this is insane.
Yeah.
Like we should not be having this conversation
Yeah.
at all. The fact that we are amusing this joke in any way
hmm
is scary in its own right.
Yeah.
It tells the times we are in at this moment.
It feels like yeah. Yeah. It's just the fact that like there's a reason that like Canada has been like always referred to as America's closest ally, right? It's because it's the only country that we share an extended natural border with, that is on a power parallel with us. Uh, but we've always had like fantastic relations because we know that like we have this massive shared border without any like way of naturally stopping like a military from rolling over it. So it's like, oh, just always work together because it makes sense, right? And because that we've always had fantastic trade agreements, fantastic. Up until recently, like you didn't even need a passport to go between the two countries because things were just so friendly. And now this is weird because it's the turning on your brother, right? Like we're trying to be Cain and Cain and Abel.
Yeah, the thing that can enable, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, because how it all plays out, there is now a massive fracture in that relationship
Mm-hmm.
that will take a long time if ever able to fully heal to where it was before.
Yeah.
I've heard, one thing to know about Canadians, I would say, right? And it's a misconception from Americans. Some, not all, obviously, right? It's Americans view Canadians as like, well, they're just like us. They are, we're a bit, share so much, etc., 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 right?
Yeah.
You know the one thing a Canadian differ from an American? Do you want to guess?
We wear less flannel.
No, Canadians don't want to be Americans. Like there is that, like Canadians respect Americans to an extent, for sure, but they do not want to be mistaken for American.
Yeah.
Like ever. Or be American itself normally. In regards of not recognizing that they're Canadian.
Yeah.
Canadians like to move to American to, become American in that way, sure. But a lot of there's a good portion of the population that do not want to have that misconception to become one, etc., at all. And I think there's people in the U.S. that are not as aware of that. Especially with those type of people that have a little bit of an issue with the U.S. already.
Yeah.
What's been going on right now, it's just been digging that hole deeper into their camp more and more.
For sure. It's been nightmarish, kind of.
Yeah.
For all foreign nations.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yes. All right. But no, this is, yeah. I mean, and that's also like, I'm not saying he would, but with the Alien Enemies Act, there's also like, for whatever reason, he could also just say like, all right, now in retaliation for whatever, I'm now going to start like deporting Canadians on work visas or Canadian diplomats.
Technically, they could do that.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Well, he could try to see that. I'm not sure he could do it, but.
But at any point, you can oust a diplomatic person from any country. That's just kind of like one of the rules of like modern geopolitics. Is you can I forget what it's called. I think it's expulsion. You can expulse any foreign diplomat on fears that like you're either going to have hostile relations with a country or you're going to be spy with it. But it's when it's foreign citizens. Like that's when you get to actually have more protections. But so like if you want to go like full like scorched earth, you could do an expulsion, get rid of the Canadian the consulate, and then just start deporting Canadians here on work visas.
So we all set up about a little law though that be proposed. I see no way this gets through.
Yeah. It feels like something that it might get through committee, but it still feels like it's gonna be fairly dead on arrival.
Yeah. I'd be very surprised if it passed at all. Yeah. Because from my understanding, once you go for the House and the Senate, it goes to the President, but mostly a formality, right? President signs it, and it becomes law.
Yeah.
I don't trust that will happen this time. If you even got through everything else, which I highly doubt that happens too.
Yeah.
But hypothetically, if it did, it'd go through the House and Senate and to the White House, right? He does a lot of other stuff that's not that normal anymore. So why did I have to say no? I'm not going to sign this.
Yeah.
To say maybe that's illegal, and maybe it is. I don't know the law well enough at all, but I don't think that really matters at this point. So yeah. All right, that's fine.
All right. That's fine. I'm gonna do some bouncing around, and then we'll see how many stories we get through at the end. Gonna hear them on some report. So this is from Sarah Perez at TechCrunch, March 7th. Signal President Meredith Whittaker calls out agentic AI as having profound security and privacy issues. So if you're not super into the open source space or into like tech news, Meredith Whittaker is kind of like a personal hero who operates the space. She is the president now of the app Signal, which is an open source and end-to-end encrypted messaging app. And I guess the term here is agentic AI means AI personal agents. So like, these are AI tools that you'd use to manage your calendar, schedule calls, things like that.
Okay.
Yep. So Signal President Meredith Whittaker warned Friday that agentic AI could come with a risk to user privacy. Speaking on stage at the South by Southwest conference in Austin, Texas, the advocate for secure communications referred to the use of AI agents as putting your brain in a jar and cautioned that this new paradigm of computing, where AI performs tasks on users' behalf, has a profound issue with both privacy and security. Whittaker explained how AI agents are being marketed as a way to add value to your life by handling various online tasks for the user. For instance, AI agents would be able to take on tasks like looking up concerts, booking tickets, scheduling the event on your calendar, and messaging your friends that it's booked. So we can just put our brain in a jar because the thing is doing that, and we don't have to touch it, right? Whittaker mused. Then she explained the type of AI of access the AI agent would need to perform these tasks, including access to her web browser and a way to drive it, as well as access to our credit card information to pay for tickets, our calendar, and messaging app to send the text to your friends. And we need to be able to drive that process across our entire system with something that looks like root permission, accessing every single one of those databases, probably in the clear because there's no model to do that encrypted, Whitaker warned. And if we're talking about a sufficiently powerful AI model that's powering that, there's no way that's happening on device. She continued, that's almost certainly being sent to a cloud server where it's being processed and sent back. So there's a profound issue with security and privacy that is haunting this hype around agents, and that is ultimately threatening to break the blood-brain barrier between the application layer and the OS layer by conjoining all of these separate services and muddying their data, what it concluded. All right. If the messaging app like Signal were to integrate with the agents, it would undermine the privacy of your messages, she said. The agent has to access the app to text your friends and also pull data back to summarize those texts. And then he goes on to talk about the panel she spoke at. So essentially what she's saying here is that we're now creating AI tools and have marketed and sold them, so they're already existing, where if you wanted to, you could have an AI agent buy tickets to a venue or buy something and then send them a group text out to your friends or send a group message out on Facebook. In order to do all that, it will need to have root permission to all of your credit card and banking information, information to your calendar and geolocation, information to your social media or contact information at a root level, so it can't really be like it's hard to remove. And it can operate at every aspect of that, not just on, it won't be limited. At any point of that, it could make contact. And it'd have to send that data back to a cloud somewhere in a way that is unencrypted. So that means that any bad agents or bad actors along the way could intercept that data and get access to your location, calendar, payment information, and social network. Not to mention that's also all going sent to a big tech company that is probably being monitored by a government somewhere and is also probably selling that data to other marketing agencies, and then that poses a secondary risk layer because now that's going to be open for bad actors to intercept again. So essentially, by having an AI agent that's supposed to make your life easier, you essentially have now made the potential attack surface for anyone to mine your data. Your entire life is now one giant attack surface.
Yeah, that's not a smart idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was something I thought was kind of important to hit on for the tech side, is that if you're ever thinking about using a AI thing to help book stuff or do whatever, don't. And yeah.
I think, AI, I'm not going to go to AI much here. So, like, use it to, like, for a free something maybe, or, answer a few questions and just philosophical debate or whatever, right? Or some access to ChatGPT could be good, but I just see a problem on this, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I see.
Especially assets in your bank.
Yeah.
That's if I don't trust at all for that. At least not yet. At least until it can be encrypted and just the technology is more developed too.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not going to give a system like this access to my damn bank information.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it need to be at a point, like she said, where like we need to be able to do AI processing at that level on a much more confined package, so it could be done on device, so it could be encrypted, but because all AI stuff has to be done through cloud by nature, we can't encrypt it. Like you're saying, like I could see AI having value when it comes to, like, assisting with calculations or like doing advanced processing or like putting together sources and stuff, but right now it seems like tech companies are just so wrapped up in putting it in front of our faces in ways that we don't make sense, or that are actually like intellectual property theft.
Like, here's the thing, right? The genie's out of the bottle, Pandora's box been opened. This thing ain't going back.
Yeah.
It's here. We are in a world where AI is somewhat a thing. And it'll continue to grow. It'll continue to develop. And in 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, it will be much more advanced,
Hmm.
most likely. You know, it just, you know, there are ways I bet AI will be where, back when the Enigma machine was made, the Turing machine, I'm thinking of a scientist from, I think scientist from World War II from Britain,
Yeah, Alan
right?
Turing. Yeah, he made the
Thank you for the movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
how to
the
how
film
to
about
develop a machine can is sentient.
Oh,
The Turing test was how to tell if a
yeah,
machine is sentient, is like how like if it's capable of like replicating general intelligence.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was it did, if I remember correctly, his grandfather to the computer partly.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I would say maybe a little bit further along on that right now with AI, but
Yeah.
you know, from like that project from the 1940s, I guarantee you, the people responsible for that could not imagine what the technology and ideas would evolve into nearly a century now.
Yeah.
We are about what? Well, we're less than 25 years away now
Hmm.
from when World War II started and ended, which that's kind of crazy. Like within 25 years from right now, we will have hit the but past the century mark of the end of World War II
Yeah.
and that invention. So there's no way they would have thought what that would lead to in our time.
Hmm.
And the same way with AI. Like it's not going anywhere. It just it's a tool.
Yeah.
We have to use it responsibly, or we have to let it will evolve. We don't think we can change that, but we have to be cautious how we allow it to evolve
Yeah.
and in what way we utilize it.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where like yeah, we need like a much stronger hand on it than we currently have because right now we're just letting companies run rampant with whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And it's already created so many privacy and security concerns. It's also done so much already with the cult of ignorance that's going around, and then it's just allowed so much false information to be proliferated because AI results right now, as they stand, will just hallucinate data points. And in really stupid other parts of it, I don't know if you've heard about this. This is also another thing I didn't want to put like a full story for it, but Microsoft Copilot has created a game coach AI that will watch your gameplay and give you tips on how to like where to go from what you're doing or how to like improve yourself. Um, Also, it'll show you how to download games, which is hilarious to me. It just
What do you
tells it
mean? How to download games?
like it'll literally like you'll have an AI interface on your screen taking you to the Steam page to download a game or to go to like the Xbox store and download a game.
Okay. Why do you need AI for this?
You don't, which is the funny thing is for like over tutorialization is already like one of the big gamers' biggest gripes with games, but essentially now Microsoft has created a tool that is just a non-stop tutorial or that will just yell at you in a game for being bad and tell you what to do. But what that means is it's going to need to have root access to your PC to see what's happening on your screen at all times to like watch your inputs and to also like
Yeah.
gauge stuff going on with their hardware. So that's gonna be stuff that like is already going to give up so much personal information again in a way that's not going to be encrypted. Um, and so if you accidentally open up your bank on a like log into your bank account on a different like tab or whatever, not all that information has been shot across the web unencrypted, and it's probably going to be accessed by some 18-year-old working at Doge.
Yes, because those people are very trustworthy,
Yeah.
right? It, I know. Let's go a little. Let's nerd out a tiny bit. It's just what we grew up with, right?
Hmm.
When I think of AI from our growing up, right?
Yeah.
And you tell me if you're similar or not. Like for me, I think of like Cortana and
Yeah.
Roland, and like Halo, like AI from Halo to Spaceship, calculating data and always being a friend, you know?
Hmm.
And like I think we are one data this very distant future, most likely when we are dust and bones, we, that can maybe still happen in some form or in a different way, right?
Right.
But stuff like that, like AI calculating stuff that we can't possibly do because it's a computer, you know?
Hmm.
But help it run a giant system like that, something extremely complex. Great. That I think is reasonable and that'd be cool, and I think I can see arguments for that being a good thing.
Yeah.
It tell you, okay, this is how you buy something on a website. No, that is unneeded and ridiculous. What's next? Did they actually tell me to open my door
Right.
or use the bathroom?
Competitive
You
pissing.
know,
Yeah, exactly. How to improve your piss performance. I mean,
it's a tutorial.
I mean, that's probably what Amazon wants, though, is to like AI like make sure that people spend less time pissing in bottles.
I'm really tell that a bad review then.
Yeah. It's. I always thought like AI at some point would eventually look like something like in Star Trek, where it is just a interface for a database, and that when you talk to it, it'll just scour through the database, pull up the correct result, and then like display the data for you, or then assist in calculating from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but instead we get privacy violations and how to download a game.
It's just.
All right, I got another one here for us.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah.
It's a time. It is a time.
Yeah. Seen plainly. Plainly.
Different thing. All right. Let's go. There.
Alright.
All right. So that's what I wanted.
So who is this person?
Okay. So this comes from Reuters from the editorial staff, March 11th. Donald Trump nominates Sean Planky to head cyber agency CISA. President Donald Trump has nominated Sean Planky to serve as the chief of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, according to the Congress's website. Planky, a former Coast Guard officer who served as director of cyber policy in the first Trump White House, will, it confirmed, oversee America's premier cyber defense agency. A relatively new body, CISA is charged with protecting the civilian parts of the U.S. government from intrusions and cyber attacks, but the agency's work defending U.S. election infrastructure from foreign meddling has drawn criticism from Republicans who have championed Trump's false claims that the 2020 election was stolen by his former opponent, Joe Biden. While Christopher Krebs, CISA's then chief, praised the election's integrity, Trump fired him via social media. Messages seeking comment from Planky, CISA, and the White House were not immediately returned. CISA, like other government bodies, has been rocked by resignations and mass firings following Trump's inauguration. Last week, former senior NSA official Rob Joyce told lawmakers that the dramatic toll of federal workers would have a Reuters, your formatting broke. We can fix that for you, but your format broke. A quote, devastating, unquote, impact on America's national security. CISA has said that more than 130 positions with the agency have been cut as of February 14th. So, yeah, this is the agency that oversees
cyber defense. I'm assuming.
Cyber defense and election. Most importantly, stuff dealing with election integrity, like our electronic election systems, use voter systems for the election, as well as parts of our civilian infrastructure. So things that handle like the stuff around, like the fact that all of the streetlights in America are connected via network. Like every streetlight is networked, so you can access it remotely over the web. And this is the agency that protects all that stuff kind of altogether.
And they are firing people from it.
They have mass fired everyone. And they hired a guy who was a Trumper, and when they're falsely claiming that the election was stolen in 2020.
So you believe the election was stolen in 2020?
Yes, he's one of those. As far as you know, he's one of those guys. He's a Trump loyalist.
Is he at all competent with the job and knows what to do?
Yet to be seen.
This is not feeling me, making me feel better.
No.
So how much is the cybersecurity for the nation at risk?
I mean, we lost 130 positions. We hired a guy who, we have little faith in because he's a party loyalist. Um, and the party that he's loyal to is the one that I've already said that
The election was stolen.
the election was stolen, and that also fought tooth and nail to disprove the fact that Russian Russia had paid for a shit ton of Facebook ads and psyop ads during Trump's first election, which we already knew was the case because Facebook revealed that they did. So
in other words, we're fine, right?
we're fine. We're totally fine. It's great. It'll be good.
Totally.
We're absolutely not going to have massive hacking attacks like hitting. This also was happening after we had already ordered the FBI and CIA to stop doing cybersecurity operations against Russia and China in regards.
What?
Yeah, so we no longer are doing cybersecurity operations against Russia or China in regards to their attacks on Ukraine or Taiwan.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Why would we?
Yeah, exactly.
I get the whole American first say. I do understand that argument for some folks. But how is that hurting America doing those things?
Yeah, it's weird. It's America first if you think that America means Trump first and his best friends in the Chinese and Russian governments can also do whatever they want.
Oh, is it getting better each week?
That'll be good.
No, but it'll be fine. Anyway,
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say about this. This seems like just a show.
We kind of, yeah, it's no notes, absolute trash, 10 out of 10.
Alright.
Yeah.
By the way, people, I mostly just see the articles he grabs day off of our show. So not like I prepare myself for this. Like I guess I mentally try to prepare myself.
Yeah.
But this is all just immediate, honest reactions from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
This comes from Ashley Belonger, Ars Technica. X's globetrotting defense of ads on Nazi posts violates TOS, Media Matter says. Subline X allegedly ignored the chosen venues and the TOS been filing thermonuclear lawsuits. So this is already great in that X, formerly known as Twitter, run by renowned neo-Nazi Elon Musk, has been running ads on posts that are legitimately just pro-Nazi party posts, like things straight up saying like the Holocaust was justified.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we need these days to say that's vile
Exactly.
shit.
And you can say it and still earn ad dollars on X, yeah.
Great.
So Media Matters for America and MMFA has a plan to potentially defuse Elon Musk's thermonuclear lawsuits filed so far in 3 cities around the world, which accuse the nonprofit media watchdog organization of orchestrating a very costly X ad boycott. On Monday, this would have been March 10th, MMFA filed a complaint with the U.S. District Court in San Francisco alleging that X violated its own terms of service by suing MMFA in Texas, Dublin, and Singapore. According to the TOS, MMFA alleged X requires any litigation over use of its services to be brought solely in the federal or state courts located in San Francisco County, California, United States. X Corp's decision to file in multiple jurisdictions across the globe was intended to chill Media Matters' reporting and costs, both of which it has achieved, and it is directly foreclosed by X's own terms of service. MMFA alleges that X's lawsuit all stem from X's claim that Media Matters manipulated X platform to force ads from major brands to appear alongside posts that touted Hitler or the Nazi Party in a way that X claims this algorithm wouldn't organically have allowed. This X alleged constituted business disparagement in the U.S. and defamation and malicious falsehoods outside the U.S. So, in essence, MFA has found that if you go on X and look at posts that praise Hitler or the Holocaust or Nazi Party stuff, you'll find ads, which you can also just find those posts under Elon Musk's own personal Twitter account. They then reported that, and ad dollars have and advertisers started pulling out of X, and then
Wonder why.
yeah, so then X sued them saying that they had essentially manipulated the algorithm to show stuff that wasn't true or that wasn't that like it just showed manipulating the algorithm in a way that the platform wouldn't allow, and then sued the nonprofit in 3 different countries. When X's own terms of service say that any litigation involving X needs to be done solely in San Francisco. So MFA has essentially their defense now saying that X has broken its own contract and that all litigation now is now null and void. So good for MFA because that will probably end up being supported in, I imagine, most sports, because the X did break its own TOS on several occasions involving this. And X is also losing just a ton of dollars every day because of the ad boycott. Because, again, it's not just a one-time thing. It's multiple cases have found that you can find ads that are earning creators dollars and the website dollars on neo-Nazi propaganda.
I really have nothing else to say about this. Like, good.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, look, the whole argument idea is that, the whole, well, everyone should have their opinion heard. No.
Yeah.
Like, to an extent, sure. Obviously, for debate and discussion, right?
You're right.
But when you're just throwing out vile, just wrong information, like, either wrong information or try to justify a vile act, any vile act.
Yeah.
If it's done with intent to shut up.
Yeah. It's the paradox of tolerance, right? In order to have a tolerant society, then you cannot tolerate intolerance. So when you have things that are at its core, it relies on intolerance being its core operating like thought. Things like Nazism, where it believes that there is a superior race and therefore all the races need to be either in servitude or exterminated. Then by nature you cannot tolerate that mindset to exist. Otherwise, you do not allow for a free and open society, because you're always going to have bad actors in there that are trying to infringe on other people's rights to safety or peace of mind. And yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately now there's like so much like things where now there's so much things being repealed with like content that can't be posted on the web, where now we are getting so much hate speech that is masquerading as free speech, when like by legal definition we've made definition saying that hate speech cannot be like free speech, but because web content moderation laws, we're unable to shut it down the same way we would if someone was actually having a neo-Nazi gathering in like a college campus.
I just did this, guys. I'm going to blow people's minds here, Tim. Hate speech is bad.
Yes. Yeah.
I know that's shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brave statement in the year of our Lord 2025.
Like, again, yes, your different opinions. Talk to people. You can have mass different opinions on certain things at philosophical debates. But then Nazi equals bad.
Yeah. We had a war about this.
Well, look, people's memory's not great. I did say the anniversary of that war is about less than 25 years away now. I think people are slowly forgetting, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somewhat joking, but I'm actually not joking. Is that people, I think, are forgetting.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Like that generation, or the greatest generations, if not the greatest,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they won't be around much longer. You know, by the time we hit that century anniversary, there'll be there'll be very few, if any, still alive in the world.
Yeah.
So, and especially by then, no one's still alive, most likely,
Mm-hmm.
that actually can remember it.
Yeah.
So, it's depressing, it's heartbreaking. You know, as that generation goes, right? We did revert back to form
Mm-hmm.
as those legends seemingly go with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this will probably be our last article for the day.
Fair, day 30.
Yeah.
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 It's a dinner time.
I've been going for about an hour, just about. We're not running into
Yeah.
our ad wall yet, but when we hit that ad wall, that'll probably be at the end of our show. So this comes from Seth Bornstein of the AP. Climate change, already causing problems on Earth, could soon create a mess for orbiting satellites. Climate change is already causing all sorts of problems on Earth, but soon it will be making a mess in orbit and around the planet too. A new study finds researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology calculated that as global warming caused by burning of coal, oil, and gas continues, it may reduce the available space for satellites in low Earth orbit by anywhere from 1/3 to 82% by the end of the century, depending on how much carbon pollution is spewed. That's because space will become more littered with debris as climate change lessens nature's way of cleaning it up. Part of the greenhouse effect that warms the air near Earth's surface also cools the upper parts of the atmosphere where space starts and satellites zip around in low orbit. The cooling also makes the upper atmosphere less dense, which reduces the drag on the millions of pieces of human-made debris and satellites. The drag pulls space junk down to Earth, burning up on the way. But a cooler and less dense upper atmosphere means less space cleaning itself. That means that space gets more crowded, according to a study in Monday's journal Nature Sustainability. We rely on the atmosphere to clean up our debris. There's no other way to remove debris, said study lead author Will Parker in astrodynamics research at MIT. It's trash, it's garbage, and there are millions of pieces of it. Circling Earth are millions of pieces of debris, about 1/9 of an inch and larger, the width of 2 stacked pennies, and those collide with the energy of a bullet. There are tens of thousands of plum-sized pieces of space junk that hit with the power of a crashing bus. According to the Aerospace Corporation, which monitors orbital debris, the junk includes results of old space crashes and parts of rockets, and most of it too small to track. Now, there are 11,905 satellites circling Earth, 7,356 in low orbit, according to the tracking website Orbiting Now. Satellites are critical for communications, navigation, weather forecasting, and monitoring environmental and national security issues. So, in essence, we have filled the space with so much satellites and stuff, and it makes sense the way it is now. However, with climate change heating up the upper atmosphere, we're having less diffusion, so less space debris is being pulled down and burning up the atmosphere, which means we're having stuff stick up in space, and that'll continue to increase to the point where we cannot, where it becomes hazardous to put more satellites and more stuff up into space, so we have less room for it, because there's a higher chance of things colliding and breaking in low atmosphere. Which means that as we create new satellites and new communications, because each time we create a new communication protocol or new method, we have to update our satellites in orbit, which means shooting new satellites, and we can't pull the old ones down. They have to get junked and then will eventually burn up in low orbit. However, if that stops being the case, those things are going to start colliding, breaking up, and even if it's like an infrequent chance of things colliding, it'll still happen enough that you'll end up getting more debris up there. So when you put new stuff up into space, there's a high probability of it then getting hit and breaking, and then if you put a new one up there, and then the cycle will continue, and until it just becomes so costly to improved communications or any sort of imaging software that we have in orbit.
So what do we do?
Fix climate change. Get oil companies to stop being oil companies.
Well, that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
You see, they said it's easily now. Getting them to do that, it's a little more challenging, I've heard.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting also because of how much this affects commerce. This could be as the study continues to be developed and put forward. We may end up finally seeing some bigger corporation backing for climate change when they realize that it's going to start costing them so much more money to operate because they can no longer rely on telecommunications that are somewhat like are already necessary now and will become increasingly more necessary as stuff becomes digitized.
Unless they go crazy like Elon at the time, let's alter to Mars.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but even then, like then now we have SpaceX where his entire business model for SpaceX, like for Starlink, is satellites, and so now essentially now there's a hard time limit on how long that's viable.
Well, this is dangerous, obviously. You know, I remember hearing, I'd literally ever watching a video a few days ago, maybe a week ago, of how the movie Interstellar.
Yeah.
Right? Great film. But kind of like the future Earth in that film, honestly, could be very scientifically accurate to what we are in for.
Yeah.
In the future, which is terrifying, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Unless things change by these big companies, obvious, like now, will that happen? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we have the future with Love, Death, and Robots. Where you ever see that show?
Yes, that's very good.
Do you remember the episodes with the 3 robots?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not sure I'm saying all spoiler for one of the latest seasons, but whatever, been out for a while. But it'll they see a launch area, ton of rockets, right?
Yeah.
And all the CEOs went to Mars, and there's flamethrowers. That helped out all the people.
Yeah.
Maybe we're in for that. Maybe all the rich just goes to Mars, and we're screwed here.
Yeah.
But no, this is terrifying for what is happening, and this had been avoided for so long, with so many different studies and moments of evidence, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is important, obviously. This realization, but we've had numerous important realizations for decades now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of feels numb a little bit at it, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Because, like, all right, here's another piece of evidence. Now, will we stop fossil fuels or not?
Right. I was gonna say we knew about climate change at least since like '75, and like the fact that we played a dramatic role in it, and it's always felt like we made like one step forward and 2 steps back, like every chance we get, and then we get to the point where like the recycling campaign and all stuff where essentially corporations try to push the blame onto the consumer, like all you need to recycle and do your part. Meanwhile, 97% of emissions all come from like large corporations.
Well, yeah. Like, there's something I saw, maybe on X recently or somewhere, right? I don't remember the exact quote, so I'll paraphrase it, right?
Yeah.
If it agrees with what you want, it's science. If it doesn't, it's conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
So, I do not see like scientific fact is equal to conspiracy theories, obviously not. But the idea is obvious, if it goes into a center, it'll be talked about, it will be, the science will actually be taken seriously, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't go for agenda, then they'll label it a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it doesn't really work fully because there are, of course, wild, actual conspiracy theories that are just completely bonkers.
Yeah, I miss when conspiracy theories are fun.
Me too.
Yeah.
I miss Bigfoot.
Yeah, like Bigfoot, like Earth One stuff is great. And now we got fucking the Jewish weather laser that's causing forest fires.
I think determined Jewish space laser too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I will admit when I hear that, I think of Mel Brooks
Yeah, it's yeah.
from History of the World Part One
Yeah.
with uh with the star of David spaceships shooting
Yes.
laser beams.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean that
And then
was
the two guys dancing.
I mean it was it Marjorie Taylor Greene recently said that we're talking about something about like getting snow later or like later in the year they're supposed to. She's like, they have a weather machine, and they're like, who do you mean by they?
You know, if there really was a thing like the Jewish space laser, like that's actually existed,
Right.
don't you think the war with, you know,
Yeah.
the Middle East and Hamas and everything,
Yeah. I
it
mean,
would kind of be over sooner
yeah. Yeah.
if you had a giant, powerful heat beam from the sky, or with,
There'd be even more human rights
Sheffield. That is true,
yes.
but maybe the war would be over sooner.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we're too busy arguing over like what's the best way to have walks on Rye. I doubt we have like the wherewithal to like put together enough time and effort to make a functional space laser.
yeah. Hey, did you ever see that video? We're completely drawing attention here, but what have fun with this if you are.
Yeah.
Ever seen a video of the Death Star not being allowed to work on spot?
No. Oh my god, that's funny.
I'd let send you that.
Okay.
Let's send you that after this. It's hilarious. No, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are running up against our ad break, so that's going to be starting soon. So this will be the end of this week's show. If you're watching on Twitch, we'll probably be talking for a little bit longer and just kind of hanging out until Brooke heads off, and I might head on to Final Fantasy or something. If you're watching on YouTube after the fact, please leave a like or comment, something like that. I'm going to be throwing this one and last week's up together to. I might wait until next week too to put 3 videos at once to just kind of like put a backlog on the channel.
Fair, good call.
And then I'll also start working on getting stuff up on Podbean, so it'll be on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Good plan.
yeah. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you possibly next week, whatever the next time we see you is. Follow me on Blue Sky for information. Let me see if I can also find that. I want to see if I can find the trailer for the AI. Oh yeah, this. Ah! Right. I think I have audio in my stream on. Yeah.
I'm trying to find a Shabbat space laser thing.
Okay, I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna on the screen. I'm sharing in Discord real quick. Here's this for you.
Alright, let me see.
So yeah, it's gonna be monitoring your input, like your like whatever. Oh, that's not okay. That's the one for editing stuff. What's it called? Is it Project Padawan? I'm trying to find what the it's called.
Here we go, I found it. Finally.
Okay.
I'll just send this to you right now for TMs. You'll find it hilarious.
Okay. I'm trying to find, this is all actual like gross stuff, but yeah, for gaming better. No, I think it's just called Copilot Game AI because that's what the thing was, but now I can't find the stupid.
Like the view I see with AI for games, right?
I think they may have taken it down.
Is honestly making NPCs proper adaptable AI for games.
Yeah,
But it's that'd be really interesting to fight against to interact with, you know?
yeah.
But that's my opinion.
I mean, that's kind of like one thing, but there was they may have taken it down, but they actually have. Uh, they probably did in their podcast. I don't want to scroll through all that. But it's going to essentially, yeah, they had a part of the video where essentially it just it showed a person like asking the AI like, how do I download Age of Mythology, and they just take them to the Xbox store and to the download button. That might be it, but I don't scroll through all that to try and find it. But they kind of funny to had it on their most recent video, and it was very good. Yeah.
Oh. Now what, my friend?
I was at 7. It's almost 8.
Yep. Set to the video, by the way.
Yeah, I saw it. Okay, no, I did see that. Yes.
That's it's so good.
That's so funny.
So good. Yeah, it's almost 8.
Yeah.
Think let's do some Final Fantasy.
I think I'm gonna hop on Final Fantasy 14. Yeah.
Nice. All right. I think we're gonna wash up and then maybe do some episodes of Buffy.
Okay, sounds good.
Cover lots. I may boot up Brutal Legend to see what the heck this crazy game is about.
Nice. Yeah. Do it.
Yeah, we're still on stream, right? Or are we not?
We're still on stream, yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
All right. But no, I'm gonna I'll do some rivals later this week if you could join me with that.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah.
I need to work on my solo rank a little bit.
Fair.
Yeah.
No, I got the Black Widow cowboy outfit. Or Western outfit. So that's nice. Also, for some reason, your camera's flashing green.
I've been seeing that too, and I don't know what that is. I think it's just dying because it's old at this point, so I do need to get a new one.
Fair. I'm like, for a moment, they're like, did I see something? Nah, that is the topic. Now I'm like, okay, something's definitely kooky.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to phrase it, friendo.
Yeah.
But no. All right. Well, I have nothing really else to say, my dear friend. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll catch you later.
I've got it, man.
Good episode this week.
Yes. Yeah. let me know whenever you want to play Rivals.
I will. I also have some people coming from out of town this week. But for family, they're going to be staying here for a few days.
Okay.
So I'm most likely I'll kind of filter it a bit too. And if you're free, like, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday or even maybe Tuesday after dinner. For it.
Yeah, Tuesday I have the Serverline show, but
right,
probably like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yep, I'll be a bit busy the next few weeks because it's all race thing.
Right.
Got to practice for that. But no other ways. Like now, I'm gonna be used to every week to bi-weekly with you for our little episode, right?
Yeah.
Every second Saturday, so started from yesterday. Every second, 2 weeks later, new race until like end of May.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be practicing each week on new tracks, or between each race, practice on new track too.
Okay.
Yeah. We all typically have one driver per race, but it won't always be the same driver, so gotta be prepared. Gotta be prepared anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
All right.
Bye,
Easy.
friend.
Have a good one.
Oh,
I said have a good one.
thanks, man. You too.
All right, and chat. I'll be back in a second when I get stream reorganized and on Final Fantasy. Well, I have to get my stream deck open.